Okay, thank you for your attendance. Could I just have your attention just for a few minutes? I got a brief lesson today. Just a heads up, 1:30, somebody's going to come in to fix Beckett's computer, so you're going to be disturbed at 1:30. 2 o'clock, somebody's going to come in to talk to me about some technology we're getting in the classroom or nearby here. Um, a couple things. One is that if you're on the schedule, the assignment that's due at the start of class today is second floor and basement plans. And then the assignment that's going to be due start of class Wednesday is chapter 7. Now, there is a lot of pages in chapter 7, but most of it's just reading it through it and trying out commands if you've done it. So some of those commands will be useful for you in the structural, annotation. So go through it, read it, but don't be freaked out that you're going to have to be drawing things for like 40 some pages of it. Also, I'm telling you to skip some parts of it because he tries to tell you everything he knows about annotation in one chapter, and it's too much at this phase. So look at the Pete's notes when you go through chapter 7 because I have you just skip some of it because it's too much to dump on you all at once. The next thing I wanted to talk a little about is I want you guys are all doing good. I want I don't want anything to be so hard it's frustrating and that you lose hope, but I also don't want everything to be easy. So like if I would just do videos and you'd follow every step, you wouldn't like struggle at all and you wouldn't learn anything, you wouldn't make mistakes. So I'm actually not upset if you make mistakes. So like when I grade you and I take points off, I'm like it's not like the end of my world and it shouldn't be the end of your world if you screwed something up or you made a mistake. Because the reality is, this is a complicated software. It's a complicated building business. You're going to be making thousands of mistakes in your career. The path to happiness is not making mistakes. It's knowing that if you make a mistake, you can fix it and you've got a way to troubleshoot it and it doesn't like throw you for a loop. It's like problem solving. So if I've marked something on your grading notes and I said, let's fix this before we move ahead, and you don't fix it, I'd probably prefer that you learn how to fix it because you're going to learn more from making a mistake and fixing it, right? Does that seem logical? So when I taught capstone, I asked for like an exit interview, and more than half the class said the best part about capstone was I had to figure things out for myself because it wasn't all set, like on a predefined TV dinner for me that I just had to open the lid and throw it in the microwave. So if you've got something wrong with Revit and I asked you to fix it, I'm almost going to guarantee you we can fix it within 5 to 10 minutes. It's Revit. The beauty of it is it's very rare that something is so irretrievably screwed up that you've got to start over. The only thing that's irretrievable is if you save all your files onto your C drive on your computer and your hard drive crashes. Then we are totally shit out of luck. I'm not going to use SOL. We are screwed. If you save all your stuff on your hard drive and the hard drive crashes, there's no way to get it back. It's physically a little disk spinning around in there. It's not backed up. And if that disk it's going like 8,000 RPMs, if it crashes, that's the end of the story. Does that all make sense? Now, the book tells you to line up the foundation with the outside face of the wall. So I'm going to do a little bit of a lesson here on what happens if it didn't end up lining up. So if you turn to page 11.22 or 11-22 on your book, he shows what it's going to end up looking like once he extends the wall siding down to meet the foundation. So I've got a sample student drawing here. The one mistake, or not a mistake, but the one thing students should do more of, especially as you start adding your floors in your reflected ceiling plan, is cut sections. So I'm going to show you how to cut a section really quick and dirty here. So they've got a quick access up here. So I'm looking at my second floor plan. I'm going to left click here. I'm going to left click there. Now this is showing how far into the building I'm looking. So if I want to see what the section is, I have to hit escape to get out of that adjusting. And then I have to click on the head here and it'll take me to that section. So you'll notice he hasn't had you put the floor in yet here. What we're going to have to do is make sure that the face of the siding is lining up with the face of the foundation wall. Now, in order to see how that actually looks, I'm going to turn the detail level to either medium or fine, and I'm going to zoom in on it. So what he's asking for, this is the drywall, this is my stud, this is my plywood or OSB sheeting, this is my siding, and this is my trim or my sweep. And then there's another sweep up here. So I'm going to tell you what the real world is and what the book is. The real world is face of face of stud, which is this line, lines up with face of concrete. Because then your siding and your plywood overhang that a little bit, and they're not sitting in water all the time at the bottom. The water can just drip free of them. But this person decided, who wrote the book, decided we're going to line up and then the beauty of that is if you dimension your wall to the face of the stud and your foundation to the face of the concrete, if the dimensions are the same, you know it lines up. If one's 48, the other's 48. There's none of this. When you're building it, it just makes your life easier. But let's just say our boss is stupid and our boss is requiring us to dimension it to the face of the siding. So the easiest way to do that, if that was a comment on yours, is to use the align command in the section. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on, just to get my align command to show up here. I'm going to go to align. I want to align to the face. And then I want to go to this face here. I don't want to go to the trim board. And when you're dimensioning your floor plan for chapter 7, that's the one you want to go to. There's a little diagram on Pete's notes in plan that shows which line you want to pick. So in order to get that to line up, you just have to cut a section. And then once you get into this align command, align it like that. And then once you've done that, I can just move this section out here and get these two walls. I can move it back here and make sure this one's lined up. I can move it back here and make sure that one's lined up. I can move it there and make sure that one's lined up. I can cut another section and make sure these two are lined up, these are lined up, and those are lined up. Becca did it 5 minutes. Yes, you had a question.
How do you choose first?
Yeah, you have to pick the one that you want to align to. So it says in the bottom, so when you click on the align command, please select a new reference for alignment. So the first one is the one you don't want to move, you want to align to. And the second one is the one you want to move.
So which one do you want?
You want to move the foundation because you already got your dimensions figured up on the first floor. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure for mine that I've submitted to you, I first clicked on my house side.
Okay, well, we'll check that out. Then you're just going to have to adjust it when you adjust the dimensions. So let's talk a little about dimensioning. If you dimension in course and you don't, so like if you look at fine, this is where students run into troubles. If you go into fine, you can override it and get to that trim board. Well, let me get to the first floor. That's the one that can see the sweeps. So there's a sweep there. You don't want to dimension to those trim boards. You want to dimension to the face of the siding. So if you micromanage it and force it to go to the face of the trim boards, your dimensions are going to be off. So let's show you what I recommend for dimensioning there. I recommend on that first floor when you go through and do that. And there's a PDF of that example that I've got posted up there. Just match that. Match where I've got the dimensions and what the dimensions are. And I actually did a video where I walked through the whole thing, how I dimensioned it this second time through. So there's a video on my YouTube channel. So let me just show you what I would typically do for dimensioning. I would put it on course. I would go to annotate, aligned. And then I make sure it says wall faces, and I don't really get in there and micromanage it. I just don't force it, and then I end up with the dimension the way I'm supposed to. So let me just show you my Pete's notes. I'm sorry, my video channel here, my YouTube channel. So for the one where you're running through and you're dimensioning, so this is page 758 dimensioning. I think I went through and I basically dimensioned a fair part of the house. So watch that video, kind of walks you through how to do it, but then there's a PDF of that final one that you end up, and that one you can just basically match my dimensions and put the dimensions in the same place as you go around.